Good morning, everybody. It's like 1 o'clock. I'm walking on the short public trail. I want to talk about Stoneblock3 for the most part, and then I'm just going to talk about random stuff afterwards. But so I've been doing Stoneblock3. I've been doing episodes as I play, and then scheduling them Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I got it to work, but it was laggy at first. Then I updated the pack, and it stopped being laggy. And then I updated the pack again, and now it's really laggy again. So I don't know how long I'll be able to play it. Hopefully a while longer yet. I barely scratched the surface. So, but we'll see. We'll see how it all works out. If it gets too laggy and I find any more bugs, then I'll probably have to quit. But it is what it is. The main point of this story is that the last episode I did, I found a bug where if you make an iron gear using Tinker Smeltery, it turns into a lapis gear. That bug was already addressed when I went and joined the Discord and talked to the mods. That bug was already addressed, so that's fixed now. Two more bugs that I found, one that I forgot to mention, and one that devastated my account, is the first one I forgot to mention was if you have your furnace, whatever better furnace you make with the auto export, hooked directly to a drawer controller, it'll just delete the items. It won't place it into the drawers. That wasn't that big of a deal. I realized it before I lost too much. So it kind of slipped my mind when I was addressing the issues. But the next problem actually caused a pretty big setback. With modular storage, I made a tier 3 storage card, and I put all my items in it, from the barrels, the crystal chest, all the random loot I had, everything, everything that wasn't like in my backpack, an alloy, or in the drawers. So pretty much all the items in the base. I built a filter to try to be able to more easily navigate the vast amount of items. And I clicked compact stacks, or compact item stacks, or whatever it's called, and it deleted my entire item inventory. So every single loot bee reward, all the quest rewards that weren't used, all the upgrades, everything, just poof, gone. I addressed this with the mods, and they said it'll be addressed, but you're kind of SOL. So I was like, I'll just do what I plan to do and just cheat in the items that I had as I remember them, if they become relevant. Well, I decided, instead of doing that, considering the sheer, I think it was like 250 stacks of items, instead of doing that, I decided instead, for content's sake, I would cheat my way through all the chickens. You might think that's bad, but I think it's a fair trade-off, because I could do every one of the chickens given enough time. Some of the items I got from the quest rewards would take far longer to get back. So I feel that it was a fair trade-off. So I cheated in 16 of each chicken that I could use, and I cheated in void upgrades for the drawers, and I cheated in 1 copper upgrade per drawer. And I thought that would be a fair trade-off. And it's nothing that I didn't have access to. It would have just took, 6 hours of gameplay between breeding the chickens and harvesting the wheat to get it done. So I feel that for content's sake and time's sake, that I made the right choice. Because now we can progress much quicker if it doesn't lag me out every 10 minutes. So, yeah. I don't know how you guys would feel about that, but I feel that it was fair, like, I could have went back in the videos and I could have cheated in every single item, but that would have taken maybe an hour, 2 hours, and then breeding all the chickens and making all the upgrades would have took another, 4 to 6 hours, instead of spending all that time doing something that I could do in an hour and just lose out on some, really good EMCable items and some potential progression. I thought it was a good trade-off. So I still think technically I lost out, but it's going to save so much time in the long run. So, as I said before, I don't know how, I don't like to cheat, but when something like that happens, you got to weigh out your options. And do I really want to sit and grind through all those chickens? And do I really want to sit and cheat in, all the different upgrades I had and all the different items? Like, I thought, like, having those resources on hand is a decent compensation. So that's what I did. Now for the random part of the video, tomorrow is my driver's test, so wish me luck. Like I said, I'm not too concerned, but I have a different feeling about things when I'm being judged. So going into it with the mindset of being judged is going to make me a tad bit more nervous. I don't know what that is. Are those trash bags? Tires? I think they're tires. I guess the question would be is why are they here? They roll from top to hill, maybe? That's doubtful. Yeah, it is what it is. So, I'm not overly concerned about it. I think it's going to be an easy thing to get done and long overdue. But I think it is worth mentioning that it's like public speaking. It's not the speaking part that bothers me. It's having the attention on me. It's knowing I'm being watched. It's knowing I'm being judged. It's knowing that, this somewhat kind of matters is what gets the nerves flowing. So we'll see. I did get one more short practice day just to be safe, and I think I'm more than prepared, and so we'll see how that goes. Next, still playing Pokemon Go, just not as much. I mean, it's fun and all, but I mostly set it up so I can hatch eggs while I walk. like it's completely pointless. Like I go and I do the battling thing, and battling other people, and it's like certain times of the day you have the meta try-hard people that are like ridiculously good, and if I don't play at certain times, I pretty much lose constantly. And it makes you kind of think, how I walk, my account walked over 1,500 kilometers. How do these people have better Pokemon than me? But, yeah, that's kind of the pay-to-win side and the spoofing to all the legendary raids and stuff and having a team. But it is what it is. When all the meta tryhards ain't on, I do really well. So that's kind of cool. This job thing. I thought for sure everything would be free and clear by Monday. Today's Wednesday. I'm not sure what's going on. I am slightly concerned and slightly annoyed that I'm not hearing anything. So I'm not sure what's going on there. As I said, she seemed rather excited about hiring me. But I know how my life is. And at any given time, things could go plummeting, into the abyss. So yeah. It's one of those things where it's like, hope for the best, but expect the worst. So, after tomorrow, I plan to call again and find out if she heard anything, but I don't know what's going on. Like, as far as everything goes, I should be as good as in. Like, but, as I said before, worse things have happened for less reasons, so whatever is whatever, Like I said, things would be a lot more comfortable if I had a paycheck, but I've done far more with far less, so we'll kind of just see. The ex-girlfriend stopped talking to me after our conversation about how we don't actually talk about anything, and it takes her like an hour to respond. I get the overwhelming feeling that it's almost like, you ever hear the thing where cops have to meet their quota? Like, at the end of the month, they have to, pull over so many people or issue so many fines or whatever they do. It almost feels to me like she's doing some sort of like, I'm doing this because I have to. So, I think it almost made me feel like regretting getting a cell phone in the first place. But I think the true regret is trying to connect with anybody I used to talk to. I think that is a real problem. It shouldn't be, but it is. So, speaking of connecting with people that I used to talk to, I have a cousin, and I had a friend, and my cousin became this guy's friend. Before I left town, we kind of stopped talking whenever he got a girlfriend. Like, that just kind of happens, I guess. Well, we started talking again. So, here's the thing, right? So, my cousin and my friend, well, ex-friend, friend, dude that I used to fish with, whatever you want to call him, they are both slightly overweight, bearded, natural redheads, which I think is like super weird, like how they became friends, because they could almost pass for one another. Like the one's a little more what's a good way of putting it? Hick trailer park-esque, and the other one's like baby-faced. So like, none of this matters. The point is, they stopped talking, and I ran into my cousin, and he told me a story. So I was like, okay. So if I see other dude, I'll let him know, and that'll be that. So I just so happened to see other dude, and I told him the story. He kind of deflected, and we stopped talking there. And long story short, my cousin, I told him that I wanted some fish that he caught because I haven't been going fishing because, well, I don't have a reasonable way to go fishing. Walking to the fishing place and taking a bus to the fishing place is just not, it's not reasonable for actually catching fish. Because if I were to catch any that I wanted to keep, I can't really take that on the bus. And I don't really want to walk, 5 miles with, fresh live fish. Or even fresh dead fish, for that fact. So, I asked him for some fish. And I walked up yesterday and picked up some. And the other guy told me that if I stop by today, he might have some catfish. So, that's kind of cool. I planned on cooking it today. Alright, here we go, right? Good old grandma saw the plastic bags in the sink and was like, "Don't you eat that fish. There's something wrong with it." I'm like, "What is wrong with it?" She's like, "I don't like the color of it." I'm like, I just kind of scoffed and walked away. The fish fillets are trout and perch. And they were filleted off, but they weren't skinned. So it has the rainbow trout skin on the one side of it, or the perch skin on the one side of it, which isn't that big of a deal. Some people fillet it off the skin, some people don't. So, when I cook it today, if I see anything wrong with it, I'll throw it away. But, she just, So, when me and my aunt went and did our last practice run of driving, we stopped for food, and she was like, we got talking about good old grandma for whatever reason. I mean, it's like a common link, so it's not too absurd that would be a topic of conversation. And we got talking about her working, and I was like, as long as I've been alive, I have never seen her do anything resembling work besides taking care of my grandfather and occasionally helping us shovel, when we were way younger. Shovel snow. So, when we were way younger. And then she's like, well, she used to own a store. And I'm like, yeah, I heard stories about that, but that was back when my father was a child. So we're talking 50 years ago. So she owned a store 50 years ago. And what did she do at that store exactly? So we got talking about that, and I was like, I would be willing to bet she sat behind a cash register and collected the money. And she's like, well, what does she do now? I'm like, as long as I've ever known her, here's how it went. My pap worked, she controlled him, she collected the money, she spent the money, and if he tried to say anything, she would say, you don't know how to pay the bills, you don't know how to do banking, so, I'll leave you, or whatever, So she always held that over his head, right? Then my pap got sick, and she took care of him, yeah, for the most part, but she raked in that money, too. And for all the crap she put him through, she better well have took care of him. But it's irritating to me, because it's irritating to me how people can be born into money, or people can manipulate people into giving them money, when people that actually work are struggling. It bothers me. It bothers me to no end. Now, it is what it is, What do they always say? The rich get richer, the good die young. It's a sad but true fact of life. Now that's enough of that. I'm just gonna get irritated. So, I was like, yeah, you know, it's like I'm the only person that sees it. I was like, I'm the only person that communicates with my grandmother that actually sees what happens. And my aunt's like, no, I see it too. And I'm like, great, you know. And I guess the long and short of it is, at this point, there's not really anything you can do about it. Like, and if I can't do anything about it, how can I expect anybody else to do anything about it? Just with the fraction of the money she just rakes in, like, I could have fixed the house, had a car, maybe had my own house and had a car, but instead we gotta have, you know, a gambling addiction and, you know, buying all kinds of useless junk. You know, sometimes I feel like there's a quota there too. Like, in order for her to keep getting money, she has to spend a certain amount. And instead of doing something good with it, we just get more clutter. Gotta, like, Jenga the kitchen to be able to do anything. Tetris the kitchen, Jenga the kitchen. I guess the long and short of it, it's a bit of both the games. You gotta kind of pack it in as tight as possible and pray it doesn't fall over. It's a combination of Tetris and Jenga. I don't know. But throughout my life, I've done some not so great things. I've done some selfish things. But throughout my life, there was a lot of things I've done for, I don't want to say the greater good of, like, humanity, but, like, the greater good of my friend group. Like, I think I was, like, turning 23, maybe? I don't know. I was old enough to drink. And I used to buy lottery tickets on occasion. I ended up winning, I won $750, and then I won $500 back to back. And it was close to my birthday. So I asked some people, and I was like, hey, you guys got a campsite, right? I was like, let me use your campsite to throw a party, and I'll get the supplies. Like, that kind of stuff. Like, yeah, it might not be like, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Like, when I had money, you know, I tried to do things for more than just me. Maybe that's one of my flaws. Maybe that's one of the reasons I don't have money now. No, I mean, like I said, I could be selfish, and I was always rather good with money. Like, when I was traveling, I made like $1,200 last, like, 6 months. So, you know, it was maybe longer than 6 months. No, I was always kind of good with that kind of stuff. But when I see other people having way more than what they need, having way more than what they could even use, or squandering what they have. It just sickens me. It makes me wonder, you know, like I told my ex, we were talking about jumping off a bridge for some reason or another, and I was like, it's not so much a cry for help, it's not so much a pity party, it's more of a, what kind of a God would want a world like this? What kind of a God would want, you know, certain people to have everything and certain people to be taken advantage of their entire life? What kind of God would want pestilence and disease and torture and war? All the horrible things, or taxes. Taxes. Like, it's another one of those things. Like, taxes is a double-edged sword. Taxes are good. Money is good. It's just bad how it's used. It's just, that's the long and short of it. Like, the concept, the idea, is revolutionary. The concept and idea pushes society forward. But when it's not used properly, it puts people in positions where they're miserable and other people are, you know, have like 12 mansions. You know, like, I just don't understand it. I just don't. Well, I mean, I do understand it, but what I understand is the world's been corrupt long before I've been alive, and it's probably going to be corrupt long after I'm dead. And as much as anybody wants to play their Confucius say fortune cookie bullcrap of, oh, a single person can change things, I don't buy it. I don't buy it. Like, yeah, there are figures in history that brought about change, but they didn't do it alone. And the structure was a lot less structured then. You know, one person can jar the establishment 100 years ago, maybe, but now it would take a small army. Most people, including me, just want to live their lives. But if we just live our lives, then there's a lot less people can collect. We don't want trouble. We want to have food in our bellies, a nice place to sleep, maybe a couple bucks in our pocket, and enjoy an actual semi-wholesome life. And people just, whoever's running the show is like, well, yeah, that's not going to happen. I don't know. I don't know. Alright, I'm at the head of the trail, so I'm gonna go. Thanks for listening, guys. And hopefully I'll have this posted tonight. And hopefully I will have a nice plastic card that says I paid $40 and 2 or 3 months of my, well, years I guess now, 2 or 3 years of my life to be told that I could do something I could already do. Alright, later on.